So Wagner did a thing on the weekend. You may have noticed. Those guys, those wacky Russians, are at it again, doing Russian politics, which is incomprehensible stuff. And then God knows what happens at the end of it. We'll find out in 10 years.
There were many memes over the weekend, but the one that I most identified with was the bell curve, where in the middle was the man explaining in really autistic detail everything that's going on in Russia. And on either end of the bell curve was the Grug and the Incredible Genius saying, I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, basically.
That's one of those ends is me. You decide whether it's Grug or Genius.
So before we get into this, I do want to just give probably the top end of that bell curve being a picture of Peter Hitchens, because he's spoken about this before. Russian politics, as he described it, which I think is accurate, is two dogs barking under a carpet. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know who's fighting, who's going to win, until one dog walks alive out into the carpet and the other one's dead.
Makes sense to me.
So, anyway. But we'll start off by promoting something on lotuses.com, being why feminist immigration policy will save the West. Because, I don't know, if you want to save someone that's not Russia, where we live instead, this would be the way to do it, which is women only. Simple as. Anyway, this is what happened over the weekend. I'm sure people saw. Elon Musk tweeting, for example, how girls sleep and boys, they don't. They're monitoring the situation with the Wagner Group.
Sorry, there is a camera in the direct view of this meme.
You'll be one of those audio listeners today where I describe the meme to you.
Oh, no.
Instead. Anyway, but I've actually been to Russia, and Donbass, so I feel like I've got some ability to give
You've
some
probably
kind of
got
insight.
better context than most people do.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make a video about this because there are many people out there who are better than me on this topic. There are many people who know more. I'm probably going to fail in some ways. But then I looked at most of the commentary on this online that I saw, and overwhelmingly it's people being like, that's it, Putin's finished now. Well, that's it, Putin's destroying everything. I'm just like, okay, right. So, like, pro-Ukrainian or pro-Moscow, just straight up, everything is fine on either side here. Like, okay.
Well, once again, when you look at me, just imagine Grug saying, I have no clue what's going on. So I'll just nod along and assume that you're right.
I'll try and explain what I know to be true. And then that's
okay.
It, really.
Yeah, that works for me.
I think is the best thing to do. Anyone sitting here speculating on everything I think is not being real, such as told to move my left, such as these people here.
Slide to the left.
I don't have wheels.
So keep going to the left.
Why am I?
You're after a crisscross, John?
I don't care. Whatever. Anyway, so you can see these guys here, for example. I hate the studio so much. You can see these guys here, for example,
it's not that bad.
Saying that, before they're Wagner freedom fighters when they're doing a coup, but immediately after the coup ends, a bunch of terrorists. And it's just like, okay, you're just opportunistic in your propaganda. That's all that's going on. Lauren Chen correctly pointing that out.
Well, I mean, I think I've seen Terror Alarm. I think I follow them. They just seem like a completely ridiculous account.
Yeah, but a lot of people were like this, and I saw it wasn't just them. They're the best example, just to demonstrate it. Point being, a lot of people are just being opportunistically propagandist about this. This is what I mean. And, well, we're just going to go through the data. Just what happened. And then, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, all right.
There's the outcome. It's hard to tell at this point. And anyone who does know is lying. So we'll start off. So about 1 a.m. on Friday, I was out and about and saw this pop up on my timeline. You can see multiple accounts showing this footage of a gun battle between Wagner and units of the Russian MOD. And they've geolocated it to Rostov-on-Don. What happened is the first thing is that Wagner turned up in Rostov-on-Don. Apparently, the FSB just let them through. Who knows?
All right.
The FSB are the secret intelligence of Russia.
Okay, all right.
And they just took control of the southern military district, the capital there.
So they just strolled in and said, we're in charge now.
This is ours.
All right, makes sense.
Give me that for free.
Makes sense.
Have fun. And then a helicopter turned up, shooting at them, and then they shot down the helicopter, apparently. So, there's that. Most people assumed immediately that this was a coup. There was the word being used in English language media about this whole thing, with Prigozhin, the guy who's leading Wagner, saying that he was declaring war on the Ministry of Defense, which is a pretty big statement.
Why would he do this? Within the context of this, did anybody theorize why exactly he would have just decided to throw a coup right now? Would it just be because Russia's in the middle of this giant battle, this war, there's turmoil, Putin might be vulnerable?
Well, we'll see as we go forward. So his main goal, as stated, was to reform Russian military leadership, not Putin. So this guy called Shogun, who's in charge of the Russian military. Basically, Wagner and Prigozhin specifically as the speaker.
All right.
He spends all his time whining about them. It's just like, you're crap, you know what you're doing, friendly fire incidents, blah, blah, blah. We'll start off just by trying to explain for anyone who doesn't know what Wagner is. So Wagner is a mercenary group. It's Chivakir Wagner in Russian, or PMC Wagner, private military company.
Yep.
Obviously kind of taking the piss out of the West.
I knew that.
Yeah, but I love the idea that when it started, everyone was like, "This isn't a real private military company. You guys work for the Kremlin." I was like,
Isn't that what PMCs tend to do?
"What did you think BlackRock were doing?" Sorry, not BlackRock. I'm gonna say Merryweather though, but I'm pretty sure it's from Payday 2. Forget the damn name.
I know who you were.
The guys in Iraq, we all remember, but well, we don't know the names. But anyway, you got Chebukir Wagner here. This is them in Bakhmut, where they put up their flag. They claimed responsibility for most of the movement in Bakhmut, which is some city in Ukraine, which the guys have been able to take that, and they're showing off. And you can see Prigozhin in the middle.
One thing I was aware of was there was a lot of varying reports going on over whether Russia had taken Bakhmut, whether Ukraine had maintained and
we
kept
have taken
Bakhmut.
a balcony.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about particular balconies. There was also talk over whether it was actually strategically important or whether it was just a place where Ukrainians could funnel Russians into some kind of shooting gallery. Once again, as with everything, it's very confusing. Seems that all of the people who can talk very confidently on this actually had no idea what they were talking about.
So you can see these guys here, they became like the heroes of Bakhmut because, of course, there's the Ukrainians and Russians both fighting about it, as you mentioned. Massive propaganda campaign on both sides. And yeah, Prigozhin there, again, taking the glory of like, haha, we liberated this. This made him, not just this event, but a lot of other stuff, somewhat of a folk hero in Donbass, at least when I was there. Like, you can go and buy Wagner-branded cola. You can get Wagner-branded whatever the hell you want, really.
Is
Wagner
it just
patches,
the same
everything.
things that they already had there before, but it's just with Wagner, like, stuck on it?
Kind of, yeah. But it's kind of a meme. I mean, like, there's Wagner music, which is, regardless of your view on the war, it's really good music. It really hits.
I mean, I'm a fan of Flight of the Valkyries, but
yeah, I mean, they use that an awful lot.
I would imagine so.
We'll have to sit down and listen to some of it sometime. But most of it's been deleted off YouTube because, well, according to YouTube, they're to be treated as a, I think the wording is violent criminal organization, according to YouTube's terms of service. So that's that. That's why you won't be able to find so much of the music anymore. But anyway, that's what they were. They were the heroes of Bakhmut, taking over the place. Whenever else you saw Prigozhin, though, he was looking like this, where he was shouting at a camera, being like, the Ministry of Defense, specifically Shogu, is crap. You guys are not giving us ammo. You guys are shooting at us, you idiots. You know, blah, blah, blah.
That would be
blah.
quite frustrating. Once again, one of the main things I've seen is just from meme culture is that everybody pointing out that he looks a bit like a Russian version of Mike from Breaking Bad.
That is also kind of true.
We had everything going for us, Putin, until you and your ego.
Walter put you. Anyway, but the point is, that's usually what he's doing. And then all of a sudden, he was, you know, we wake up and he's taken Rostov-on-Don, which is right next to Donbass, the biggest city in the regional capital there, overtaking the military district, as people are reporting. And you could see here, for people listening, tanks covered in red Zeds, not the usual white ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wagner troops turning up, and they took control of the place, which was...
So do the red Zeds signify something different than the white Zeds?
I don't really think so. I think it's really just I haven't seen them before, though.
Oh, is it just a color choice?
Like I say, someone probably knows better than me if it's a new symbol, because usually it's always the white ones. But okay, maybe the red is now Wagner, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a unique aspect there. And also in Rostov-on-Don, when I was moving around there, you can tell that Wagner were also quite...
I'm sorry, I just need to do something very quickly. Hello, Dan. Oh, he walked
right.
away. Sorry, if you were confused, Dan was at the door filming us for some reason.
So one of the other things is also you can find Wagner recruitment posters all over Russia, at least before this, when I was there. And especially in Rostov-on-Don, they were like, you don't have like a tree. They would just be covered in posters and like take a number. So you can call them up.
Oh,
Which
okay.
was certainly something. And again, you can buy Wagner branded stuff in mainland Russia as well as Donbass. But here's the imagery. Everyone got a bit worried. They were like, what the hell is going on? And then afterwards, the Wagner guys started moving towards, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Vorozhin, which is the main city in between Moscow and Rostov-on-Don. Because you can't just drive to Moscow in an hour. It takes quite a while. Big country. So,
From what I've seen on the map, it's not too small.
Yeah. God, that just reminded me. Do you remember when Kamala Harris tried to describe the Ukraine-Russia conflict? Big country attacks small country. And that's
I did hear that. I remember that. That was quite spectacular.
But I don't know about you, but I looked at the news and went, okay, they've taken over a regional capital and then they're moving towards Moscow. To do what exactly? Like, what do you expected? Like, you turn up in Moscow, ring a bell, and okay, I'm president now.
I'm in charge now.
Yeah, this was the
Unfurl
narrative.
the banners, boys.
This is what most English language responses were.
They were kind of treating it as though if this guy shows up at the doorstep of the Kremlin and says to Putin, I'm in charge now, all of a sudden, liberal democracy has won, Western government has achieved its final goal of taking over the East, Francis Fukuyama drops from the sky and says, "History over."
Yeah, I mean, I did find it hilarious. A lot of people were acting like, if Prigozhin takes over, then Russia are the good guys now. I was like, really? That's how...
Yeah, Russia suddenly just becomes another Western liberalized democracy. The pride flags will be there waiting. That's what he was doing. He was transporting all the pride flags to the Kremlin.
But I think the only aspect of that that's interesting is obviously anyone who was tweeting like that at the time is not a serious person. Like, just sincerely. And there were quite a lot of them, and I'm annoyed at how many were in my timeline, but there's that.
My timeline was full of it, and I just thought to myself...
It wasn't just me, then.
No, I looked at it and went, I've got no idea what's going on. Why would I comment on this?
So I'm going to call this city that we're moving to Middle City from now on, because I can't be bothered. So they ended up turning up there. You can see it in the middle there. There we go, Middle City. That works.
Yep.
And then everyone being like, well, the plan, just drive to Moscow. And then truck into Moscow, toy for victory, I presume. But you can see here, they also decided to seize an airfield around the Middle City. And I was like, what are you guys doing exactly?
So this is just them transporting...
Yeah, these are anti-aircraft
all right.
munitions there. And then all of a sudden, some civilian was filming the airport, and one of the fuel depots just explodes.
Okay.
So, okay, this is looking a bit more serious.
Yep.
And then the helicopter that shot it was also blown up out of the sky by Wagner, which, okay.
Okay, this all seems to be escalating.
This is going to get out of control, maybe. And then there were airstrikes on the Wagner convoy moving towards Moscow. Okay.
And these airstrikes were from the Russians?
The Ministry of Defense, presumably.
All right.
Unless, I don't know, some other PMC is operating that we don't know about. PMC on PMC violence over here. But there's that. And then a command plane was shot out of the sky, reportedly, with like 10 people on. Now, thankfully, that seems to be the extent of Russian blood that has been spilled.
All right.
So that's good news. No more dead people. So there's that.
So maybe a dozen people.
Yeah, which still not a great
there's
day
not
if you're
what-
the
not what
Russians,
you
I
want.
imagine. I mean, I know it's only a dozen, but still, like, you have fighting now in your own territory in the middle of a war. Strange events. And Putin then gave a speech. You can go and listen to a speech in your own time. I'm just going to put up a picture because it wasn't very detailed. It was largely just, these guys are a bunch of traitors. Shouldn't do this. We're at war. We need unity, blah, blah, blah.
And what else are you going to do?
The point being, he sided with not Wagner.
He sided against the people who were supposedly throwing a coup against him?
Yeah.
Big shock.
Yeah. After that, the FSB decided that they were going to investigate Prigozhin for criminal activity. Seems to be putting it lightly, but okay.
All right.
They then started putting up roadblocks on the way to Moscow to try and slow them down, or at least someone did. They were putting large trucks to try and stop the convoy.
And this is a very poor effort at roadblocks, seeing as most of those trucks seem to be parked off of the road.
Well, they've been pushed out of the way by the tanks.
I suppose so, yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't care how good your roadblocks are. If the other guy's got tanks, your truck ain't going to do much.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, where is this going exactly? Like, are we going to see Battle of Moscow 2? That's what most people were wondering. And as you can see here, this guy decided to put out some more details. But if you scroll down on this one, I believe there's a picture in which there are machine gun positions being put up around Moscow as well, which is jolly good. That's normal things.
All right.
So then everyone was pretty worried because, well, as you can see in this picture here, 30 minutes towards Moscow now. And the convoy goes on for 30 minutes, sorry, is what this guy's saying. So you sit and the guy's filming for 30 straight minutes of just truck after truck after truck.
Keeping on going.
Some with tanks, some full of guys, some full of equipment, some full of SAM sites. And it's like, okay, cool. Why exactly? Who's going to do what? And everyone was quite hyped. I mean, in fact, this is what I saw in most circles. How who were just, normal people.
Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, normal people were mostly just sharing memes because, I mean, what can you do? And you can choose your faction in the next Russian Civil War, is what most people.
Can we click on this? Can we find out who ours is? Do you want me to?
I don't know if I want to, but you can try. I think it's a GIF, so it might.
No, it's not working. Nah. Damn. I guess you'll just have you at home decide which faction we belong to.
There is a friend of mine who was playing this game, and he just got Putin's government, and he was like, "No, that fits." I was like, "All right, bro, that's your world." But there we are. And then all of a sudden, it just ended. Just never mind. Battle of Moscow cancelled. Go home, boys. Prigozhin just gives an announcement that I don't know. We've reached a deal. All good. Go on home.
Jesse brokered a deal between Mike and Walt. All is good.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesse, for fixing
Cheers.
things. But obviously this confused everyone, because why exactly? Was it a coup? Did he not have enough power? Was it not a coup? Was what?
What's going to happen in the future if it was an intended coup that's just failed or just been thrown to the side?
Or was it just a rebellion? Was it a bit of a temper tantrum? Was it just, please stop shooting my own guys because he's been complaining about friendly fire? Who knows? And we don't know. Nobody knows. That's kind of the point. But we do know some facts. I mean, it might have been this. I'm just saying. Just on second thoughts, let's not go to Moscow. It's a silly place, which, yeah, I could see.
Yeah.
But Prigozhin was now apparently relocated to Belarus, along with Wagner. That was the terms of the deal that seems to have been brokered, at least what people are saying is the deal that has been brokered. Now, a lot of people are obviously mapping it and then be like, aha, what if it's 4D chess to invade Kiev? I don't know. Maybe in 2 months we'll see some invasion.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only thing that I have seen that's remotely plausible to me that I saw people suggesting was that it was some kind of, I don't know how smart the Russians are, so I don't know how plausible this is. Perhaps you can tell me if this sounds plausible. It was some kind of 4D chess move to, one, confuse the Western side, and two, root out any potential traitors on the Russian side. Well, I guess
maybe.
There we go.
I mean, that's the thing. The thing about Russian politics, as I mentioned at the start, Peter Hitchens is right. It's two dogs barking under a carpet. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Maybe one dog teams up with a cat and they trick them into thinking the dog and the cat are fighting, and the other dog lets its guard down. But who knows? Because we don't get to see any of it.
The people involved may not even know really who've got the power and what's going on anymore. The people I met who are Russian nationalists working in Russian politics knew very little about their own system, in the sense of,
oh, really?
We don't really know who even has power.
Well,
because it's such a...
That sounds quite a lot like over here, to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy I met, for example, in Rostov who explained, I mean, this is probably true of you in the West as well. And I was like, no, it's not. We know that... Hang on.
Right. Do you really believe that Rishi Sunak's in charge?
Does Liz Truss really have control of the country? Did she? Really? No, obviously not. So the idea that, we don't really know who's in power or anything, I mean, that's not foreign to us either. So no. It's not an unusual thing. The details we did find out was the charges against Prigozhin for criminal activity were completely dropped. Okay.
All right.
He's done nothing wrong now, I guess. And
so either it was some 4D chess, or he's just too useful if he is still an ally to do any action against. Any suggestion that either of us throw is just go, maybe.
There's a reason I'm doing that. It's not just to be like, oh, I don't know.
No, it's true.
It's because if I told you, oh, for sure, I'd be lying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there are people in Russian language media and people in English language media who are like, yeah, this is definitely... No, you don't know. Stop. This is like when that bridge, the dam got blown up on the
there was the
Russian-Ukrainian front line.
Intentional self-destruction.
Yeah, and everyone was blaming each other, being like, "Oh, the other side did it." And it's like, who has any evidence? Nobody. All right, well, what are we doing? Why are we taking a side on this then? Like, okay, so either way,
have we considered it was aliens?
Maybe.
I mean,
like I said at the time, for people who don't know why I said at the time, it was just it might even just be that bridge hasn't had any maintenance, because guess what? It's on the front line and it's been shelled with artillery. And do you really want to go down and fix the bridge while the other guys are pointing guns at you?
I thought the thing with the bridge that somebody in a truck was sent and it blew up.
I don't believe I've seen any evidence of that yet.
Oh.
Maybe I'm out of the loop. Maybe there is some. But anyway.
Fair play. Well, once again, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this.
But the point being, Putin's still in charge. That's not changed. The people who I know who are pro-Putin in Moscow seem to be not the happiest, but not unhappy either. They just responded to me being like, well, that was weird.
I guess everything's back to normal.
I'm like, yeah, bro, I thought it was weird too. And then the guys who I met who are more friendly to Wagner seem fairly okay with the situation. They're like, well, our guys are still safe. The biggest complaint seemed to be, or a rumor, is that Wagner was going to be shut down by the Russian MOD. So this theory goes that that's why this happened. It wasn't a coup. It was instead, oi, take us seriously. But again, I don't know. This is just theory, but we'll find out in the coming days, I suppose. As I mentioned on the Wagner side, that was the theory there. But obviously, this doesn't really have a nice, neat end, a nice, neat narrative. Things don't usually. So, especially in Russia.
Nothing ever does, especially war.
No. But I do have to mention, which is that people did notice. I mean, Wagner are kind of celebrities. And, well, you can see in this picture here, this is a guy taking a selfie with Prigozhin, I believe, in Rostov. And when they were told to leave Rostov, the Wagner guys, after everything had settled down, There were people coming out, giving them drinks and food and shaking their hands and taking pictures and clapping them. It was all very folk hero-esque, which is the same thing I saw in Donbass. I mean, I'm not having an opinion on the situation. It's just what the opinion seems to be of the locals towards these people. And one of the things there is that I saw a lot of accounts being like, this is evidence, but they assumed that the support for Wagner was some kind of anti-Putin sentiment, at least from the Ukrainian accounts I saw. That's why they were calling them freedom fighters and etc. Because opportunistic moment to say a thing you don't know about. But anyway, so I don't think it's that. I think genuinely they just see Wagner as folk heroes because, I mean, their aesthetic's really cool. Is all I'm going to put it down to, frankly. I think that's really true.
I think aesthetics has a lot more to do with everything than most people put it down.
For people who, yeah, I mean, if you're living in the Western world right now, if you see anything about Wagner, especially in mainstream media, but even on social media, usually what you'll see is, they're war criminals or terrorists or so forth. I mean, they're declared terrorists in the EU, for example. They are a terrorist organization for the EU, but not in the UK because of Brexit. So there's that.
All right.
Anyway, but the point being that if you're a Russian living in Rostov or Donbass or something, you might see some warfare stuff, of course. You won't have the Western stuff, but you will mostly see, at least from what I saw, the music, for example, the music videos, the memes, the, Ride of the Valkyries playing, and then a bunch of Russian guys coming in to save the day. And that's the imagery.
That counts for a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's nothing. Anyway, Street Sweeper over here has become an international hero overnight in the Russian world and English-speaking world that's following this. Because he just came out and went, no, everything's going to plan. Just trust the plan, bro.
This street sweeper knows what's up.
Yeah.
All of the political commentators on Twitter, even us right now, this street sweeper, he just knows far more. We should get this guy on.
But he became a meme overnight as well. It's just everyone's like, yeah, bro, trust the plan. There is a plan. We don't know what it is, but there is one.
He's Putin's top guy.
It's like Alfarius or whatever. He really is Putin's top guy. Look, he's even making it look nice.
Like, whoa. Putin needs me.
Belarus came out and had some good fun as well. You could see the Belarusian Ministry of Foreign Affairs tweeting out to Elon Musk. Thankfully, thanks to President Lukashenko, boys can finally get some sleep too. Elon Musk.
Scroll down so we can see the full meme, please.
It's just the old meme of
how do boys sleep?
Boys no sleep, and now
that one again. Oh,
boys
okay.
Get sleep. So there's that. Anyway, everything seems to have gone back to before. We'll see if there's some major impact in the long term in regards to this. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the facts.
Do you know? Probably not.
Mind. Maybe you trust the plan. Maybe this was a coup. Make up your own fantasy of what
I trust the plan.
But the point being, Wagner seemed to have been moved to Belarus. So there's that. That's a thing that's happened. This has shocked Russian media and the population significantly. I did see someone going through the papers this morning and just explaining what was said there. And overwhelmingly, all the commentators from pro-Putin to not are all like, didn't expect that.
Got no clue.
Yeah, this was really odd. Like, does this show that we're really vulnerable? I mean, one of the pro-Putin outlets described it as proof that the system is stronger than ever because we were able to repel this. And it's like...
We were even able to repel ourselves.
Which is... Okay, I applaud the spin. That's pretty talented, I'll give you that. But
yep.
Certainly not something I would have expected. Anyway, regardless, I would advise people to go and check out the Wagner songs just to try and get an understanding of why people in the Russian Federation or Donbass seem to have this aesthetic image of them, just to help you trying to understand that world, not to
and to pump Callum's own video numbers.
No, you can go and try and find it elsewhere. I just have some there. This is Evgeny, my friend, for example, who decided to give me some of that. But,
he sang you a song.
Well, no, he played it on his telegram.
Oh, right.
But like when we're riding around in cars, for example, they won't play the radio in Donbass. They'll play Wagner music. They'll just sit there playing it. And it's like, all right, not allowed in the West.
Okay.
You'd probably get in trouble in France or whatnot, but whatever. Anyway, the only thing for us in the West, I think, is to just observe. We don't have any influence. Never mind the Russian population, so theirs to solve. But either way, we're going to get some amazingly good war music out of all of this that will go down in history. That's really my position on the whole thing. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium contents on the site, such as the Brokenomics series, this episode on rent controls. And if you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.